Hey y'all, it's Jay and
Litzy.
here at the Mosaic Workshop from Austin, Texas. We're gonna tell you about grouting today. So we spent the whole weekend at our volunteer workday getting this, I don't know, we probably had a dozen people or more working on this guitar. So lots of hands helped to lay all the tesserae, all the different pieces. Basically, we let the adhesive, weld bond, and Gorilla Glue cure for at least 24 hours. So there's a nice strong bond. And now we're ready to grout. Another thing we did was we took our diamond file and we filed around the edges so there's no sharp edges when people touch it.
For materials, we'll be using grout floats, pigments, a lot of different reused containers, rags, sponges, and always make sure to have your safety materials like gloves, masks, goggles, and if you have long hair, make sure to tie it up, and you're all set to go.
All right, so even though we're using a pre-mixed grout, you still have powdered pigments, and you never want to breathe any of the powdered silicas or pigments if you can help it, so you always want to wear a mask. All right, so open up here, okay, and the premix, as you can see, it's kind of like a peanut butter or ice cream. This one's kind of a thick mix, okay, and then we're gonna start with our background. We're gonna do some nice deep red oxide yellow shade. So we're mixing in our pigments, okay, and then we got your spatula here. We're mixing in with the white really well, and you can see it turns the color pretty quickly. Kind of start anywhere. You might start, we're gonna do a two-tone, so the guitar in mirror is gonna be sort of a blue-purple fade, and the background, like I said, is this red oxide. So you can slop it on, and you only wanna put on as much as you can work in about 5 minutes or so, because this type of grout actually dries pretty quickly, and you can work it pretty fast. So then I'll pull in with my grout float, and I'm working from the edge out where I want it to be, okay? And you can also use a putty knife to kind of push in and around your sharp edges. And the point of what you're doing is pushing in the grout in between all the seams, all the space, what's called grout interstices. And you see I'm working in different directions, back and forth. You don't just want to go one way because you want to push that grout in and all around.
Make sure to get everything right in the smallest of cracks because you don't want any of these sharp edges.
And then as you have that excess, you can use the long edge and scrape some of that excess, pull it back where you need it. So you're constantly just kind of moving it around, pushing and pulling. And you also want to make sure and get around the edge. Some people tape the edge if you want to keep it clean. I like to kind of have the grout color and cascade down the edge. It kind of rounds the corner really nicely. But you do have to be careful here, even though we have filed the edges so they're not as sharp. They can still very easily cut through your vinyl gloves and cut you, so be careful. All right, so you're gonna take your sponge, dip it in the water. You squeeze it all out though. You don't want it to be really runny, you want it just damp, okay? And then you're gonna work the surface in circles, just like this, with a pretty good amount of pressure, because this pre-mixed grout dries really fast. And you're basically agitating the surface, getting it off the surface of the tile, but letting it stay seated in between all the tile. And the longer you let that grout sit, the harder it is gonna be to clean it. So in just that 5 minutes, this premix is already starting to set up on the face of the tile a little bit, so we're just in the nick of time. So after you've done the first pass, you're gonna have what's called, grout haze on the surface, okay? And with the premix, again, you can work it pretty quickly. I have a new clean sponge. You might want to change your water at this point and get clean water so you can do another pass, just removing some of that haze, okay? Nice big circles. This is where you're always checking for little holes, pinholes in your grout where you maybe didn't have enough, where the grout settled and you need to put a little more. And you can just pull it off of the table, pack it in with your thumb, your finger, and patch anywhere that needs it, and then re-sponge it. You can take your microfiber cloth or your shop rag, and you can kind of get that haze almost already off of there. But look how beautiful that looks now with that red oxide grout in between all your warm tesserae, fiery. And there still might be a little residual haze, which you'll find you'll have to kind of let that dry until the grout starts to set up on you, and then you can come back with a clean microfiber towel. Okay, so now we're gonna use a super blue and a super violet. We're gonna batch up about enough for half of the guitar, maybe do like a little fade. I'm gonna start with the blue up here on the top, and we're just gonna, again, work from the edge of that red as best we can. So we got this super violet. If you ever have a piece pop out, okay, you wanna have some Gorilla Glue on hand because it's pretty strong stuff. You just need to pack it back in there. 'Cause the point of it, if it keeps wiggling around, you're not gonna get the grout to settle right. So now that you know there's a sort of a loose piece there, okay, you pat your grout, and then you just gotta be a little bit more gentle with that area.
Make sure to wipe off all the excess with your rag as much as you can.
Woohoo, shining. So this grout will dry on your tools. So your grout floats or your spatula, putty knives, buckets, anything you wanna rinse out, now's a good time to do it.
Thankfully, here at the workshop, we have our little sink and everything that you need to get all of your pieces rinsed out. Make sure that you're not actually washing any of this grout down the drain. You definitely want to do this outside or any place that has an outdoor sink. So if you come and visit us at the workshop, hey, we have you covered.
Okay, so we got some clean water and washed our sponge. I'm just gonna do another quick pass here to remove any residual grout haze. Don't forget the edges too. Sometimes the bottom edge will kind of stick to all your grout that fell on the table, the paper.
For a mirror, you want to make sure that you especially buff this really well as it's reflective, and we want to make sure it's nice and shiny.
Let's see, what do you think of our grout project today?
I think it turned out amazing. Look at this beautiful mirror. It's so shiny and so beautiful with all of this little fire going on in the guitar. It's turned out really beautiful.
Yeah, we made a pretty huge mess, to be honest, but that's what grouting's all about. And you get the final product like this now. It's set in stone. All the tesserae are linked together. All the people's hard work over the weekend is solidified in these beautiful colors.
Thank you for all of our volunteers for coming
Yes.
this weekend. This is what you guys created and it looks so amazing.
Yeah, look at that shine. Woo.
So come to the workshop to make cool things like these, and we hope to see you soon.
See you soon at the workshop. Peace.